Hey guys, welcome. So this is just going to be a super quick review of annotations. Just kind of, I know I posted some more in-depth stuff last week, but I just want to give you the quick rundown to make sure we're all on the same page. So really what I'm talking about with annotating is going to be this process that I ask you to go through. When you're looking at your first read through, you're going to be looking for words you don't know, if there are any reactions you're having to a particular piece of the text, and of course anything that seems like super important. So key ideas, key details, names, locations, anything like that that just seems kind of super important, that you think there might be questions about later. That's going to be your first read through. And when you go through a second time, this is when you're going to want to start looking for particular things that help you answer your W's. So after you finish reading that second time, a good idea is to start with what. So literally, what is the text about? This can be super short. If you want to take this from the perspective of you need to have like a 10-word or less like summary of the text, that is fine. If you want to have something that's a little bit more in-depth, that's definitely not going to hurt you. But make sure that you're covering the most important details of the text and don't like waste a bunch of time rewriting the whole text when you can have something quick but useful for you later. Because if you ever have to go back, you don't have to reread the whole text if you wrote a good summary for yourself. The next thing, obviously, is think about who. And of course, remember, who is a two-part question. So that's going to be who is the text written by, so who is the author, and who is the text written to, so the audience. Audience is potentially one of those things that's going to have multiple answers. And try not to say everyone, because I'm pretty sure babies can't read, so I guarantee you it's not for babies. I hate to say that, but, keep in mind that more specific answers are going to be more beneficial to you. So think about who the author was writing to specifically. I promise you, for especially colonial literature, for example, you're not the audience. For example, we just read Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. If you read that text, pretty sure you were not born hundreds of years ago, so this was probably not for you. It was for a particular group of people, so think about who that group might be, especially knowing that he is a minister or a pastor or something of a religious sort, and he's writing what's known as a sermon. If you're not sure what a sermon is, either Google it or ask me privately. I'd be happy to clarify that for you, and that's going to help you with that audience. Then you're going to probably start thinking about, okay, when, where. And I kind of always put these together and think about the occasion. What is going on in history at the time this text is being written? This is super easy with nonfiction texts, so texts that are real. This gets a little bit trickier when you're looking at fictional texts, so texts that are fake. But that's why I give the videos and provide you extra information always when I'm going to ask you stuff about the history or the context of what you're reading. When, where typically is a little difficult, but I promise you it will not be the hardest thing you have to do in my class. It's all about taking good notes when you look at that history stuff that I provide previously to you reading. So if you're looking for more stuff on Puritans, I posted 2 videos previously. I'm posting one after this, and I'm also posting some notes, and 3 of those 4 things are already posted, so you should be good to go on that. Next, you're going to want to think about the purpose of the text. So why was this text being written? What's the goal of the text, or the author in this case? Is he or she trying to get the audience to do something particular? Are they trying to inform them of a particular concept? Are they trying to persuade them to do a particular thing instead of something else? Think about the purpose of the text. Why would they be writing it? And of course, this is another one of those answers that can have multiple answers. Just think in this class, there's always going to be multiple answers. There are right answers and righter answers. Of course, there's still wrong answers. If you tell me the purpose is blue, I have lots of questions. If you can prove it, sure. If not, we have work to do. But think about, like, you know, this may be right, but something else might be just a little bit better. So think about those detailed answers once again. And then how. How, for me, guys, is going to end up being interchanged. I'm going to call it either how or trying to find devices. Either way, it talks about the author's style of writing and how they chose to put their text together. So I do have a whole video separately placed up already for how. But just kind of keep in mind that I want 3 different strategies. So don't give me 3 examples of a simile. Tell me there's an example of a simile, there's an example of personification, and there's, I don't know, anaphora in the 3rd paragraph. I also provided a resource for you guys already to kind of give you an idea of where to start with some of that stuff. So if you're not sure on what some devices might be, go ahead and check that resource I provided. It's under the annotation guides section. And again, that's just kind of a wrap up for annotating. And of course, theme is going to be the hardest thing I ask you to do. So I want to look at everybody's themes before I give any specific feedback on that. I'm still waiting on a couple of people to post there. So I want to wait a little bit before I harp on theme a little bit. But I will be giving specific feedback as soon as everybody gets everything turned in, and I will be happy to give you any further guidance as it needs to come up. So this video is going to be followed by another one that's specifically looking over colonial literature for the Anne Bradstreet text we're looking at this week, and the previous text we looked at last week, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. So be on the lookout for that, and make sure you watch both to help you kind of get you guided through all this stuff. As always, let me know if you have any questions. I am always available. Remember, my email is mejenkins, otherwise I will not get your email. And I'd be happy to answer any questions at any time. Like I said, I'm really, really easy to get in contact with, so let me know.